So it's launch time for TaylorMade, and it's the brand new Stealth 2 drivers. We've got 3 models to take a look at. We're going to hit all 3 in this video, and at the end of the video, do stay tuned. We're going to go flat out with a few of those swings and see what we can get out of this brand new driver. Okay, so just before we jump into hitting some shots, let's just talk about the 3 models and maybe which type of golfer these models are actually going to be aimed at. So we'll start off with Stealth 2 Plus. Now the Plus basically means it's got the adjustability in there. So we see that sliding front weight in the sole as we've seen in the previous model, which obviously can move into the heel and the toe to make it a little bit more draw, more fade bias, or to move the mass more around those strike points. So typically this is one is going to be aimed at a little bit more like maybe that faster club head speed. Somebody who's wanting that more that mid-flight and a low spin characteristics, which this Plus version is going to provide. So moving into the standard Stealth 2 driver, so the adjustability in that movable weight now has gone. So we see that fixed screw, which is just slightly into that heel. A little bit more MOI, a little bit more forgiveness in this particular club, a bit more of still a neutral flight, but a little bit more mid to high ball flight. And this for me will probably be the one that would suit most golfers out there. And then finally moving into the Stealth 2, the HD. So this is more of the draw biased golf club that they are providing. So again, higher MOI yet again, so the most forgiving out of the 3 options. You see that weighted screw now moves more into that heel, so obviously again pushing more mass into the heel to try and let that club sort of turn over to create more of that draw biased effect. Right, so we're going to kick things off. We're going to go into the standard Stealth 2. So as I mentioned, this is probably going to aim the big majority of golfers out there, offering some high MOI. So just quickly talking about some technology that's happening in this head. So now we can see more carbon added and introduced into this. So obviously we've got the carbon crown that we saw in the previous model. We've got more carbon now in the sole, and we've got a carbon infused ring section on the back, which was last year aluminium. So they're saving more and more weight, obviously, which is going to get more repositioned in down low and sort of back in this club head. So again, that is increasing MOI, and that's a big talking point from TaylorMade in the new one versus last year's Stealth is forgiveness. And that's definitely something I saw through my findings with club golfers fitting. Forgiveness levels weren't brilliant. You know, missed hits were a little bit sort of disastrous in a way, where, you know, hoping now that, and TaylorMade are definitely saying this is much more higher in the MOI, which is ultimately that forgiveness. So as we always do, let's look at straight into this sort of first instincts of this playing position, and there is some changes that TaylorMade have made. I mean, the actual shaping of the driver looks very, very similar to the previous Stealth. Probably a little bit more of a straighter top line, I would probably say, that I sort of noticed there. But then the real big difference is the colourway change. And what I mean by colourway is previously it was a matte carbon top with a gloss section around it, which I didn't mind the look of, but it did look a little bit sort of cheap, I thought, especially around the front area of the gloss bit. Now they've switched that around, so the front section now against the face is now matte, and I think that's really good, and they're saying that just prevents any sort of glare of the golf ball onto that glossy front section. So that's now matte, and then the carbon is now a really nice sort of piano black carbon, but it's now a gloss finish on it, which does look very good. I think that's a good change from TaylorMade. Now with this standard Stealth 2, we see that nice sort of lipsticking of the red, which is that now that back ring section is what they're calling it, and that just sort of comes up. We lose sight of that in the Plus version, which we'll obviously look at in a minute, but it just gives you that nice sort of lipsticking around the back of the driver. Okay, so good sitting driver, sits very nice. Obviously still got that red face. Okay, that was a decent strike. It's working up that left-hand side there, but great sound to that. And I think we saw that with the previous model, didn't we, with the Stealth? It was a good sounding golf club, and that's still got that very much that carbon sort of sound to it. So as I mentioned, the carbon face, the 60 times carbon face is still there. They have changed it a little bit in regards to made it a touch light, and they've saved 2 grams. So from 26 now to 24 grams is this club face. And they've actually made it a little bit sort of lighter around the perimeter of this club face. That's where the weight's been saved, around the perimeter. So essentially those off-centre hits, a little bit more energy going through that ball, making it a little bit more, again, that forgiveness of those miss hits. Again, just a touch up the left, touching the bottom of the club face. This will be an interesting to look at. Ball speed's pretty good there. Slight low hit, launching a little bit lower. Spin obviously going to creep a little bit, but that's not bad for the standard one there, which has got this 25 gram weight at the back. And these weights change as per the model, which again, we'll work through each model, but 25 grams there. So that's saving of more weight with regards to the more carbon in the bottom of the club, the sole, as well as that carbon infused ring is putting more weight in that back screw, which is going to help with that MOI. So maybe those first signs of just having that little bit more forgiveness in the club. That ball speed was good from that low hit. And of course, we've still got that speed pocket on the bottom, which we're seeing in quite a number of models now with TaylorMade. Still got twist face. Again, just a touch low, but that's flown up and away. Be interesting to look at that one yet again. Again, 166, not a bad club head speed on that one to be fair, but again, that spin has climbed a little bit. Touch low heel. He definitely feels a little bit more, not twisting the face as I just move my strike a little bit. It doesn't feel as twisted maybe as what we saw in the previous models. It does feel very, very solid. It's a great sound to it. And I do like this new look with the gloss top and the matte front section. We've just got that lovely little bit of sort of stealth just sort of embossed into the glossy part of that inside of the heel. That's a good shot. That's the best one of the lot there. Good strike. Great flight on that. Looks to be very sort of forward. Decent ball speed, 165. Better launch there, better spin. Yeah, really good numbers. So all three of these heads I've got are all 9 degrees. I'm using the same shaft, which is one of their stock offerings from TaylorMade, which is the Kylie in the 60 in an X-Flex. That's a good flight as well. Just a touch higher on that flight, a little bit higher in the club face, which is allowing for a touch more of that launch. Yeah, good numbers. Okay, right, let's quickly switch into the HD model, then we'll go into the Plus, and then we'll do some real fast swings and see what we can get out of these clubs. So, same shaft now into the Stealth 2, but the HD head. So this is more their draw biased option, as maybe I mentioned before. Again, 9 degree, I've got the set as a standard on the neck sleeve, and adjustability on the neck sleeve, exactly the same we've seen in previous models. Now the HD, again, they've taken that weight saving from the extra carbon in the sole and that carbon infused ring, and now produce more of a heavier weight in the back. So this is now 30 grams where we're just seeing 25 in the standard Stealth 2. So more weight pulled back, again, it's going to help increase a little bit more of forgiveness. Maybe for that player with that, maybe more of that mid speed, maybe that slower speed might suit this. A little bit more weight back helps a little bit more launch, a little bit more with spin. Now, as I sit that down by the golf ball, this does sit a little bit more toed in, as you're probably going to expect from more of a draw bias sort of driver. That's a little bit of a toey one. I'm testing the forgiveness straight away, and that's flown very straight. See that slight high toe strike. Lose a little bit of ball speed, but that's always a good miss then. It pops it up, pulls a little bit spin off. Oh, there's the left one. Yeah, that was a bit left. A little bit higher in the face again. That's definitely turned over a little bit left. That'll be a little bit me with the club face. Definitely don't need a help of a draw bias club for myself. That was a good strike. Yeah, definitely a higher ball flight there. Peaking out really high. That was a good strike there. Launched a touch higher. Yeah, spins a little bit higher. See land angle a little bit steeper there. I think this is where this driver will definitely suit that more mid and maybe that slower swing speed who maybe just wants that little bit of help of launching the golf ball, getting that little bit of spin. You know, if they haven't got the ball speed there, then you need a little bit of extra launch, a little bit of extra speed to keep that ball in the air to maximize your distance. So moving into the Stealth 2 Plus. So adjustability now is the theme in this particular driver, as we've seen with previous models with the Plus. We've got that 15 gram movable front track, or movable weight in that front track, which we can put into the toe of the club, which TaylorMade is calling fade, into the heel, TaylorMade are calling that draw. I would probably tend to use that more for trying to put mass behind a certain strike location to help with ball speed, reducing gear effect and things like that to help with sort of straighter shots. But adjustability there, we see that back weight now is only 15 grams. So we see this weight reduced now. So obviously as we get the weight more forward in the head, it helps to promote a little bit more of that lower spin characteristics. So as I mentioned before, maybe this is suitable more for maybe a player like myself, a little bit more speed, and somebody who's trying to control a spin and get that spin down. So more of a mid-flight, low spin characteristics with TaylorMade. Now, this changes in the cosmetics of the look now. We lose that lipsticking of that red. So we still see that carbon infused ring around the back, but it doesn't lip over onto the top of the crown. So now we see just a black finish at the back, black on the top. Again, it's still gloss matte at the front, but we still see the red face. So just a little bit different on the appearance. Oh, that was a good strike on that one. Just peeling a little bit of fade on that, off that right hand side a little bit. Super feel off that, very sort of solid. Good ball speed, 165. Spin, a little bit high there, maybe for the driver, probably that little bit of that shaping to do with that, but decent distance, decent carry. Oh, again, that's low in the face, testing the forgiveness levels. So super flight from that slightly low strike, obviously it's going to come out a little bit lower. Yep, spin's climbing a little bit because of the strike, but again, it's decent ball speed. Speed pocket at the bottom just helping me out a little bit there. Again, very good solid sound to it. Looks great down by the golf ball. It's a good flight. So technology-wise, we've seen all the same things we've seen in those other two models, you know, carbon face, everything like that. We've just got extra adjustability to that front track there. And I think combining that one with the adjustability to the neck sleeve, you can really sort of dive in a little bit deeper in setting this up for certain golf and their sort of delivery. Oh, let's drag that up the left-hand side a little bit. Oh, that's a great flight. Very forward flight on that. Very piercing flight. Felt really solid. Actually caught that a little bit low looking at that TrackMan there, but that ball speed there, 167. Very similar club head speed, but good ball speed there. Good control spin, a low hit. Decent sort of numbers. So definitely seen some more forgiveness there. Now, let's hit some shots. Before we look at the numbers in more detail between those three models, let's just go after a few and see what we can get out of it. Ooh, struck that well. Struck that well. Got club head speed up to nearly 117. Look at that ball speed. 171, there we go, 291 carry, that's good. So I'm using the Stealth Plus driver, keeping the Plus, this lower spin. Whew, up the left hand side, nearly got it to 118, 172 ball. Okay, let's rev this one up. Oh, that's a good strike, feels good. Oh, out of breath now, 171 ball. 302 final distance. Okay, let's go and check a few numbers out. Okay, so quick look at dispersion rings, and we can see obviously the pink one at the end is those ones I was going fast at, but you can see the white ring there was the standard Stealth 2, the yellow was the HD, the blue was the Plus heads. Okay, then looking at the numbers, so we can see the Stealth 2 there, good ball speed there, 165 launch, 11.27 average on the spin, getting up to just short of 300 mark. See just some of those spins just climbed a little bit higher there just as I move my strike around. Moving the HD, obviously we can see a little bit of a mix there. I didn't strike that brilliantly compared to the others there, so you see just losing that little bit of that ball speed there, and obviously just that little bit of distance there. Obviously a bit more of a draw biased golf club. Then moving into the Plus, again back up into that 165 mark, then you can see the spin averaging at 2345, so lower spin number there with, you know, non-climbing to the 3000s. You see 2.9s not far away on those slightly low hits, but then when I get it strike a little bit high, you can see spin gets pulled off more with obviously that more weight forward in the head, but gave me a little bit more distance than that total of 300. Obviously going flat out there, a bit of fun at the end, so a 117 club head, 171 ball, good spin, and got it into averaging that 310 mark. Appreciate you watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.